Boeing was once a titan of industry. It soared above the competition, but then the unthinkable happened. Two Boeing 737 MAX planes crashed. Hundreds of lives were lost. The year was 2018. Then it happened again in 2019. Another crash. More lives lost. The world was in shock. How could this happen? The blame fell on a faulty flight control system. It was called MACAS. It was designed to prevent stalls. Instead, it sent planes nosediving. Investigations began. Fingers were pointed. Boeing was in the hot seat. The 737 MAX, once a symbol of innovation, became a symbol of tragedy. Regulators around the world grounded the plane. Orders dried up. Boeing's reputation was in tatters. The company was facing an unprecedented crisis. They had a long way to go to regain public trust. This was just the beginning of their troubles. The financial fallout was immediate. Boeing's stock price plummeted. Investors lost confidence. The company was bleeding cash. Billions of dollars were lost. Production of the 737 MAX was halted. This only deepened the crisis. Boeing was facing an existential threat. They needed to act fast to right the ship, but it wouldn't be easy. The road to recovery would be long and arduous. Boeing struggled to recover from the 737 MAX crisis. Then more problems emerged. Production issues plagued the company. Supply chain disruptions caused delays. A faulty door plug on the 737 MAX 9 was discovered. This raised concerns about quality control. The Federal Aviation Administration increased scrutiny. Production restrictions were put in place. This further hampered Boeing's efforts to get back on track. Leadership changes were made in an attempt to steer the company back on course. Dave Calhoun, the CEO, announced his departure. He would be replaced by the end of 2024. Steve Mollenkopf was appointed as chairman. Boeing also bought back Spirit Aerosystems. This was an attempt to address production flaws. The company reached a plea deal with the Department of Justice. These were all signs that Boeing was taking steps to move forward. However, the company was still facing an uphill battle. The damage to their reputation was significant. They needed to prove to the world that they had learned from their mistakes, that they were committed to safety, that they could be trusted again. The year 2024 was a tumultuous one for Boeing. The company reported a staggering $6 billion loss in the third quarter alone. For the full year, the losses amounted to a jaw-dropping $11.8 billion. Revenue plummeted to a mere $66.5 billion. This was a significant decline from the previous year. Cash flow was also abysmal, with an outflow of $12 billion. The fourth quarter of 2024 offered little respite. Boeing posted a net loss of $3.8 billion and only managed to deliver a paltry 57 aircraft. These numbers painted a bleak picture of Boeing's financial health. The company was hemorrhaging money. The 737 MAX crisis, coupled with ongoing production issues and supply chain disruptions, had taken a heavy toll. Credit rating agencies circled like vultures, threatening to downgrade Boeing's creditworthiness. This would make it even more difficult and expensive for the company to borrow money. To add insult to injury, Boeing faced yet another setback in October 2024. Workers at their West Coast factory went on strike. They were demanding better benefits, including a defined benefit pension plan. The strike brought production lines for nearly all commercial jets to a grinding halt. This included the beleaguered 737 MAX. Boeing was staring into the abyss. The company was in dire straits. They desperately needed to find a way out of the financial wilderness. One glimmer of hope remained: their substantial order backlog. This provided some optimism for future growth. But first, they needed to address the issues that had brought them to their knees. Boeing announced plans to increase production of the 737 MAX. They aimed to ramp up operations for the 787 Dreamliner. Certification flight testing for the 777X was back on the agenda. These were all positive steps. However, Boeing acknowledged that more fundamental changes were needed. They had to restore trust with airlines and the flying public. They had to improve their performance and address their internal issues. The company's future remained uncertain. The road to recovery would be long and challenging, but there was still a chance for Boeing to reclaim its former glory. Only time would tell if they would be successful. The world was watching.